Okay, everybody, this is today's Zoom meeting. I lost track of time, to be honest. I stepped out of the studio where my little alarm went off to remind me about 15 minutes ahead. Hello, Kaden, how you doing? And went over to the studio to take care of a few things and didn't realize I was that close to 2 o'clock. But I put up a little reminder there as soon as I got back, about 2:01, and we're starting about 5 minutes late because of that. But either way, I'm going to record it too, so anyone misses anything, they can see the update. So I got our website open, and if you got a question, you can put it in the chat, or you can just unmute if you want to ask. I'm just going to briefly kind of update where we're at for sociology for this week. First of all, we started chapter 4. It's actually chapter 4 and 5. Okay. So chapter 4 is called Socializing the Individual, and chapter 5 is called The Adolescent in Society. Adolescent is a fancy word for those of you, which includes most of my class, where you're kind of between being kids and being adults. Okay, you're getting a little old being a kid, but you're still not quite an adult or not looked upon as an adult. So that's adolescence, those middle years, typically about 13 to about 17 or 18. Where you're still, trying to figure a lot of things out. So, and then socializing the individual. So the notes are divided in two parts. So the first part is socializing the individual, and the second part is the adolescent society. Now, for socializing the individual, I'm not going to go over all these right now. You get started on your notes this week, your slides. I think you know the guidelines by now. And, if you got to do 48 slides total. If you've got at least 30 of them done by Sunday, then next week you only got to finish the last 18. If you don't do anything, then you got a lot to do next week. It'll be a very busy week. So I put them up a week ahead, purposely make the due date into next week. So if you don't get them all done this week, which would be great if you did, then you got to next week. In case you haven't noticed, I've been moving due dates around. If I have a reason to move it into the following week, like I do with these notes and slides, I'll do that. Otherwise, I'm going to make everything due by Friday and try to spread it out a little bit, like between Tuesday through Friday. One is to get people focused more on, hey, this is the school date week. I'm supposed to get this done during the week. Unless you have something extenuating going on or a problem, you should get them done during the week. Maybe do one assignment a day or something like that and get them done by Friday. I had some parents complaining that students weren't doing anything all week. They were saying, hey, I got nothing to do until Saturday or Sunday, which is the due dates. And then they were trying to do it the last minute when parents often wanted to do family activities. Now, should something extenuating come up in your life and you got something going on a Thursday or Friday or something, and need an extra day or something, just contact me. Just, touch base with me. And usually that's not a problem if it, something like that might come up once in a while. But otherwise, do your work during the week as much as you can. Okay, and then the Growing Up Poor in America. I just got around to watch that last night. You might say, Mr. Rio, how could you give us an assignment without watching it? Well, there was a previous version of this on Frontline, Growing Up Poor in America, that came out in 2012 that I used for years. And I went to use the same one again, and then I saw they had a new one that just came out like a month ago. So I thought, well, I may as well use the new one, and it's kind of similar idea. In both versions of it, because you can still find the other version on the Frontline website, they focus on kids in 3 different family situations where they're struggling with poverty or being poor, or things that go along with having a pretty low income. And the previous one, actually, I just did watch the new one last night. As sad as the new one is, with these kids dealing with these situations, the one from 2012 was even sadder. You had one family had to give up their dog because they couldn't afford the dog anymore and things like that. So they're both sad. And there's a lot of people in our country, as rich as our country is, as great as our country is, we have a lot of people struggling. So we watch this, we see their stories. It focuses on the kids, and part of it is to see about people living in this, I would guess maybe some of you, in this class do live in similar situations, because we do have people in this lower economic bracket in Harper Creek too. But a lot of people don't, and then they're maybe don't realize what other people might be going through. So this is certainly relates to sociology in many ways. And part of it is we look at poverty, people dealing with poverty, what may contribute to that. And then that brings us to the question, what do you do about it? Because a lot of sociology is, what do you do about it? Do you have more government programs? Do you have more education programs to get people skills and that, so they can hopefully get better jobs and get out of poverty? A lot of people, quite frankly, point fingers. Who's to blame? Is it the poor people, for some cases, making poor choices? Is it other policies that the government or business or whoever does that might, contribute to poverty? Or is it a little bit of all the above? And again, I'm not telling you how to think. I just want you to think. I want you to consider, the situation. Like I said, a lot of these documentaries we watch, they're not trying to explain every factor. They're not trying to explain every point of view. In this case here, they're mainly just telling these people's stories, and you can jump to your own conclusions like that. And there's, of course, way more to the story of poverty in America than just this. When you write summaries and opinions, I typically got two types of students when it comes to the summary. I'll put some minimum requirements. Maybe it's 2 paragraphs, 4 or 5 sentences a paragraph. And it's to summarize what the story's about. You get right to the heart of it. Assume whoever's reading your summary has no idea what this is about. So you can get right to the bare basics. It's about 3 kids from 3 families. They're in Ohio. It's 2020. The pandemic has hit. They're struggling economically for various reasons. How is it affecting them? What are they doing to get by? And then you start maybe giving some examples. Some of their single parent households, I think in all 3 cases, they, now the other one wasn't. The other one had poor families. This one, in all 3 cases, coincidentally, they're all single parent households, which statistically have higher percentage of poverty. But it's the, you just put some examples down. So I typically get the student who, heck, they could write 3 pages with no problem doing the summary. And then I get the other student who's struggling to come up with, 8 sentences. But, for those that struggle, just start putting in the obvious. You can go into detail about some of the families, go into detail of some of the situations. Then when you get to your opinion, the opinion can be about the people or the events or the story in the documentary itself, or, because you can have both, can also be about the bigger issue of poverty and what some of your opinions are about that. And quite frankly, a lot of people got mixed opinions on issues like this. On one opinion, they have great sympathy for families. On another level, oftentimes they'll say, well, where's the father? Why isn't he contributing? I don't know. That's not in the documentary. Why didn't the mother, get education skills to get a better job than always being in the lowest of income jobs? Well, that's a whole nother story. Was it her fault? Did she struggle herself trying to get by and didn't have opportunities that other people have? I mean, all that can be factors. And these are not easy problems to solve. Okay, so just to get you thinking. Okay, so that's poverty, that's growing up poor in America. Inside the teen brain. That was always one of the more interesting ones, as far as like when I show in class, students found this quite interesting. It's an older one. It goes back to 2001 or 2 or thereabout. But it profiles several teens where they also are studying their brain. And having an idea of the biological effect on things like teenagers is important, because if you're a sociologist and you're studying about teenagers, about all the things going on with teens, social issues, social problems, social groups, whatever it may be you're looking at, there is a biological factor going on here. Teens are in a different biological situation than younger children or older adults. So having an idea of how that affects teens, of how it affects teen decision making, why teens are in various categories of higher rates of crime and higher rates of poor decision making, part of that is connected to brain development. So having some idea about that you know, the sociologists talk about that too. So that's one of your other videos you're doing a summary opinion on. And then the last one, there's two little videos, and they're really little. We're talking 6 minutes and 4 minutes. And they both talk about birth order and personality. Birth order is where they look at people who are either the firstborn or an only child, because firstborns and only child seem to have a lot in common. People who are the youngest, the baby of the family, the lastborn, and people who are in the middle, grew up in the middle. Maybe they're the middle child, maybe they're one of several middle children. And how does that affect personality, and how does that affect other things relating to growing up? So that also is part of looking at adolescence and looking at, you know, how people function or what might influence them or how you're treated or how you grow up or what, you know, what kind of people are firstborns, what kind of people are middleborns. Does that mean every single person in that category is exactly the same? Of course not. There's always exceptions. But they've done enough studies to get some general ideas how your birth order might affect how you behave and how you think and so forth. So that's our week. One project is to get started. 2 longer videos, but I think you'll find pretty interesting. Make yourself comfortable. If you have the capability to stream to a regular television, by all means do. I watch these on YouTube on my HD TV at home. So I sit on the couch, relax, and watch it that way. So if you have that capability or whatever's comfortable way for you to watch them, that's how I recommend you watch it. And then the birth order, that's a couple little videos, pretty easy assignment. Most of these you're doing in a Google Doc. You just type it up and turn it in. That works best for most people. I had one student, can't remember off the top of my head which one, but it doesn't matter. And she wrote up her very neat summary and very neat opinion in a notebook, with a pen, and then took a photo of that page, which I could see and read very, very easily. Her handwriting was impeccable, and you know, I had no trouble reading it. So if someone wanted to try that and they got good handwriting and the photo is very clear and I could read it just as easily as I could read a Google Doc, if that works for you, rather than type a Google Doc while you're watching a video, give it a try, and if it works, I'll accept it. Okay? That's about it. If you guys got any comments or questions, but that's where we're at right now. And if not, I thank the 3 of you that joined me live, and I'll put the recording up in a little while for those of you that may want to check this out later. Okay? And I have been updating grades, so if there's something you turned in I haven't graded that's more than a week old, that you see that's already a category on the Power School, feel free to shoot me a text or an email or something if you want me to check it. And if you got something going on that's getting in the way of getting your work done, extenuating circumstances, whatever it may be, or you're trying to catch up after maybe not being so motivated, by all means do contact me and let's get things back on track. Okay, have a good week. Football game tomorrow night. I'll be there live streaming, so if you can't make it, Harbor Creek High School HCTV YouTube channel, and I'll put the link from the YouTube channel up on the high school Facebook page. You can check it out live, maybe sitting on your couch watching it on HD TV. It'll be on YouTube live. Okay, have a great day. I'm going to end her here unless anyone's got a question. Okay, thanks for coming.